Awesome.
Okay, we are recording.
Oh, we are.
Sing. 1.
You guys should
2.
3.
Oh man. 2.
3.
That was.
We don't really need it this time. So
Still, that was the best sync sound in recording history. I must say.
sync sound.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
this is what's up, everybody. This is working title Summer School number 1, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been, what's it been? A couple weeks now.
No, 10 days. 10 days.
Only 10? Okay,
But who's
good.
counting? Not me.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Clearly, I am not counting because.
Yeah. It's been too long, really. In conclusion.
I think it's been too long.
Yeah.
I know that one Adam Brook was complaining that we hadn't put up a new working title during finals week. But,
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh. Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad he's concerned, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're doing this because you guys couldn't get enough of us, so we're here for you.
Mhm.
We're listening to our fans.
That's us.
Yeah.
Protect and serve every time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh yeah. Speaking of fans, we just hit 250,000 subscribers today. So
Right on. I mean,
Hey, good job.
we're doing pretty well.
I don't know. I think we can still do better.
We could do.
Yeah,
better.
same.
I'm not satisfied until we hit 500,000.
I'm not satisfied until we hit 7 billion, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, might as well get the entire global population. Why shoot for anything less?
I like your
True.
style, Mitch.
Well, I mean, who doesn't?
So, what's new in your guys' lives? Like any interesting things?
I've rediscovered my love of reading, which it's really a good thing. I mean,
It's a nice summer activity to do.
it should be a nice activity to do, period, but particularly so in the summer. It does help the boredom when, you can't do anything else.
There's no such thing as boredom in the summer, Mitch, because I just want to let you know, I realize that I'm never having a summer again. They're over for me. So, this might be your last summer and you don't even know it. You need to
Senior,
enjoy the shit out
I
of it.
beg to differ here. I mean, it may just be because I live in Phoenix, but this is boring, man. This is boring.
Well, I mean, all right.
It's like 110. I haven't done anything.
But you don't understand, that's the joy afforded to you by not having anything to do, like any responsibilities this particular summer. I need to get a job. I was going to be in summer school. That fell through. That's a nightmare that I'm not going to get into, but I found a way around it, which is nice.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to talk at once, but God, it's a nightmare just trying to get a job during the summer, though. I mean, job hunts were always hard, but now more than ever, it's a nightmare. That's all I can say.
Yeah, job hunting it's especially, yeah, you're right, especially right now. It's not going well. I'm sure that you guys have been trying to find a job, each of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, and it's not going very well.
I think the worst thing about it is that no one who, like, in this economy, who wants to hire someone for just a couple of months and then know that they're going to be gone once the summer's over? No one wants to do that, and so no one really is doing that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we don't have
Summer
to talk about depressing shit. I'm sorry,
it comes with the territory.
it does.
Yeah.
Um,
What are you going to do?
yeah.
Saw Avengers again today, so that was a bright spot in my life.
Again, how did you feel about it this time?
This time, I noticed a lot more of the one-liners, and I loved it even more. And I did also notice that Thor's hair was slightly ridiculous. It was very clear that it was stylized perfectly every day.
Right. The nice little fan blowing.
Yeah, it's the perfect. He has that perfect little little coif on the right side, so that way there's that little lock of hair in front of his face, but it's never actually covering his face.
Right.
It's perfect. It's great.
Video games. I picked up Max Payne right before the break started.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's fucking amazing. It's like
Yeah?
it's like a John Woo movie and a Michael Mann movie had a baby.
And you're playing it.
And I'm playing the baby.
Oh, that's great.
It's an interactive baby that you can like go into and kill people. And
I mean, usually most babies are interactive.
Then well put, sir.
Well,
if you touch it, you play with a baby, it usually responds.
I don't like babies particularly. They just it's like a bundle of responsibility. Whenever someone asks me to hold a baby, I freak out because I feel like I'm going to be the one that drops it.
Well, it's not that big of a deal. All you have to do is be like, I don't feel comfortable holding your child. It's
hard when it's like family now.
Well,
you kind of got to suck it up and do it.
I guess. I don't know. I haven't really.
But Max Payne is what I really wanted to talk about.
Sorry.
Not about dropping babies. It's just the way they did it. I really feel like it's maybe one of like the best story integrations into gameplay, and I just feel like it's one of the best stories I've kind of been on in a game. At least this type of game where it's a shooter essentially.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no transition between the cinematics and like when the game starts, which I think is just like it's just insane. Like when you're in it, it kind of like you're like whoa, you're kind of taking it back that you're a part of it. I don't know. It's just it's really good. The bullet time is awesome. The multiplayer is really cool. It's also super challenging though. That's not just me. But it's in a fun way. Like
right.
In reviews they've noted that it definitely gets tough.
How does the bullet time have any play in the multiplayer?
It does.
How?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
it works in different ways. The first way is it's actually like a perk you can get, where you get it for 2.5 seconds, and then other people don't get it. And then the other option is you're kind of shoot dodging, if you know that, where you dive and it goes into the slow motion.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the way they worked it out is it's by line of sight. And if you do that, it slows down time for both of you. Or whoever can see this happening on their screen. It's really cool the way they did it. There are some problems. I use you can play with the version where it aim assists you, like the soft lock, or the free aim. Free aim is really hard to me. Like the reticle is super small. The soft lock is fun. It's like Red Dead Redemption, basically.
Oh, love that game.
Gotcha. Yeah, great game, by the way.
But they kind of boosted the graphics and smoothed out the gameplay a little bit, and it's modern. It's the same engine.
Yeah, it's also the same studio, right? Rockstar?
Yeah, it's Rockstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty all-star, I guess.
The storyline is it's just great. The one-liners are great. It reminds me kind of like Uncharted, except the R-rated version, with like drugs and the whole concept of this guy who's like an alcoholic for, I don't know if you guys know the Max Payne kind of background.
No,
somewhat.
His family was taken away from him, and he's a painkiller popping boozer guy. Yeah. But as funny as it is, he's like this cynical, dark kind of person. But like when the shit goes down, he has the best. He's a superhero, And then the whole gimmick is that you don't have health packs; you have painkillers, and they don't really
heal you.
Yeah, they don't really heal you fully. But it's an interesting kind of mechanic, and it's a pretty great game.
Adam, I know you're going to be very excited that I'm about to bring this up, but I just picked up my copy of Blizzard's Diablo 3 today.
Oh, yeah?
Had to get my, every 2 episodes or so I have to get a Blizzard plug-in, so
yeah,
I got it.
This is super relevant.
Yes, it was this time, as opposed to all the other times when it was out of the blue. Haven't gotten around to playing it yet. Picked it up before I saw the Avengers, so I'll let you guys know how it is next week or next time, I guess.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because it came out on the 15th, right?
Yes, it did.
I remember my one of my housemates, Alex Bull, was he was very he started playing it at 12:01.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. He right out the gate, Alex Bull was playing that game.
You don't have to lie. I believe it.
Yeah,
I truly do.
Yeah,
He was one of the lucky ones because not apparently, most of the U.S. was running into error 37, I believe, which was the servers couldn't handle it. It was way more stress to the servers than they had imagined. So it couldn't do it. It had all crashed, and it didn't crash. People like Alex Bowl got lucky enough to get in, but most people were just
locked out.
Yeah, sitting around trying to figure out what error 37 was.
Actually, yeah, I did. He did mention that because I asked him how it was, and he said, I got in, but there were a bunch of people who did not get in.
Yeah.
Apparently, Blizzard launches just never really go well.
Yeah, they try and stress test as much as they can, but then it's more than they can just handle.
How's the game itself?
I've only played the beta.
Is there no single player at all? Or?
Technically speaking, there is single player. It's just there's no offline mode. It's all based on the servers. So
it's bots. Is that what it is?
No. It's just it would be you playing alone, but you have to go through the server to play it. So it's weird like that. You can be lagging in game while playing alone, and you're not connected to anyone. It's just you have to connect to the server. So a lot of people, or some people, aren't very happy with that new mechanic, but they have their reasons, I'm sure.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
I guarantee it cuts down on piracy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, at the same time, though, that's just kind of annoying. I want to be able to play a game wherever I am, not have to worry about whether I have an internet connection or not.
Exactly.
Do you know what I've noticed? I noticed it today, actually. Like, if you ever watch, if you watch pirated material on the internet, which I highly advise against, but if you do or know someone that does, you might notice that they never have the subtitles. Like the English subtitles.
Yeah.
In those speaking scenes, and I'm curious as to why that is. I think it's like a layer thing. I don't know if you guys know anything about that. It's kind of interesting.
Wait. Say that again?
Like, when there's ever subtitles in English, like, deliberately placed on the film, you never see that in pirated versions of the film for some reason. I think it's like when you encode it, it's like a watermark almost that you're losing there. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure why that is, but if someone wants to let us know.
It could be that. I don't know either way. I'm saying, but I always kind of thought of it as like subtitles are part of like a disc encoding or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not even going to try.
Like another video track.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess we're all in agreement then.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Oh, and this is just, it popped in my head, but I knew you'd like it, Jake. I'm reading I'm reading the Game of Thrones books. Is talking about that reading.
Oh yeah? Great books.
Fantastic books. George R. R. Martin, great fantasy writer. He brings level of realism to like a fantastic. It's a great. What is it called? Fantastorical, I think it is, where it's fantasy, but it brings in like a really great layer of detail into like the feudal system of like old Britain.
The way I think about it is Game of Thrones, and the reason why I like it is it's middle-aged politics.
Yeah,
it's a fantasy novel built in its own world, but it's just as much political. It's about war and politics.
Yeah,
which is my favorite. Which is my favorite part about it.
Yeah.
Has either of you seen the show at all?
I've seen all of season 1 and all of what is available of season 2.
How does it compare to the books?
Or
what you've read so far?
Well, it's interesting. Season 1, I think, did a really great job of being almost completely faithful to the books, with the exception of some budgetary issues, so they couldn't do some like giant battle sequence or whatever. But as season 2's been progressing in the TV show, it's definitely becoming more as the opening credits say, based on Song of Fire and Ice. It's they're taking far more, not, I guess, liberty. They're changing things that way. We don't have to keep track of as many characters. They're just getting rid of some characters and like replacing them with others that are important to the series but weren't actually in the situation in the books. It's definitely not bad though. I'm finding it quite enjoyable. Seeing interactions between characters that never happened. So,
oh yeah, I mean I really like the show, but I have not gotten into the books. So the books aren't slow at all? Because the first season, to me, the first half of it seemed kind of slow.
Take it away, Mitch.
It's the books are. It's like any fantasy novel. They're heavy. They're not the heaviest fantasy novels I've ever read, but with creating an entire other world, you have to have a lot of descriptions. There's a lot of geography, mythology, that type of thing that he's very good at just hinting at and makes you want to know more, but it does make the books longer and it does make them a little more cumbersome to read.
Yeah. They can be a little slow at times, and they will, I don't know.
It is not something you read all at once. It is not a series that you marathon.
Right,
no,
right.
It's certainly not. He does a really good job, though, of... Well, the structure of the books is that each chapter follows a different character. And so he does a really good job of pacing with having more intense, active characters being positioned and like surrounded by perhaps something that's a little bit more, a little less interesting, maybe a little bit more political, maybe it's more, they're going to look at the feminine side of the series for a little while, but then they'll go back to a battle. He does a really good job of making it so that you want to get to the next chapter so you can see what someone else has been doing.
Right. No, the show came across to me very soap opera-esque, but I mean, to me, that like part of how they portray the culture is what's so interesting.
Yeah.
Let alone the action,
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they essentially just like rape every woman, and that's kind of like the way it is. I think that's kind of incredible.
I mean, that was
that's
the
HBO.
Way. Yeah.
Well, how far off is that really?
Not far off.
I mean, women didn't have rights.
No. I mean, ladies of court did, but I mean that's why they were ladies of court, because they had their rights.
Right.
But the thing is, in the books,
does the book have those types of like scenes?
There are sex scenes, but they're only always like a paragraph or two paragraphs, and it's not really the heart of the issue, even in the beginning of the chapter.
So is it like tasteful as opposed to like it kind of veers around it as opposed to?
Well, it's not always tasteful per se, because the books are narrated by characters.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe tasteful was the wrong word. That's totally subjective.
That's the thing. It's written from the perspective of a third-person observer watching these characters. And the characters themselves will sometimes have input, like it's italicized when they're thinking. And some of the main characters are, they're dirty, they're raunchy, they love to fuck, and they don't mind raping. And so those sections are not tasteful, but they're true to the characters and they're true to the book. And it's just, it makes you either like hate that character or, in the adverse situation, really respect that character.
Yeah. I actually saw a quote by George R.R. Martin, who's the author of the book series. And it's talking exactly about this. So he said, "I get letters about this fairly regularly. It is a uniquely American prudishness. You can write the most detailed, vivid description of an axe entering a skull, and nobody will say a word in protest. But if you write a similarly detailed description of a penis entering a vagina, you get letters from people saying they'll never read you again. What the hell? Penises entering vaginas bring a lot more joy into this world than axes entering skulls."
That is a very good point.
That's pretty great. That is...
Well, this is this is like the age-old difference, right, between like our culture and what's acceptable, and like European culture.
It's I believe it's Victorian.
No.
Is when that whole idea of proper etiquette and really putting sex behind closed doors and any sort of inappropriate behavior was really, really looked down upon. I believe it was the Victorian era when that picked up.
But even today.
Oh yeah, and it carried over to today.
Well, I've always heard traditionally people say like Europe, just in general, is way more open to scenes of love and lust, and there'll be bare breasts in like a cheese commercial for no reason other than they can. But does that also apply to? Does that apply to Britain? Because if we've got this prudishness from Britain, do they still have it too, or do either of them know?
The thing is, we, I guess, if you're going to go look historically from a historical perspective, the people who came over from England are the
Puritans.
Puritans. The ones who had a problem with all that.
Yeah. Senior, did you just open your window?
I closed it.
Ah, okay.
I was really trying to be stealthy. It's behind the computer, so I didn't think it would pick it up.
I thought that was a glass door, actually. So
yes, glass
window.
Yeah.
Okay.
I fucked up again. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. No, don't worry about it. But out of curiosity, what other kind of windows are there other than glass?
Touché.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Touche.
Wow. Ooh. Mitch Young, voice of reason.
Sorry, I can't help it.
Hey, it's okay. That's why we keep you around.
I guess so.
That and that name of yours.
Sure, why not?
Forever. That was a reference to an earlier episode.
Oh, yeah, it was. 'Cause I totally remembered we talking about that.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Really?
Nope, you got shut down. Sorry.
No.
I believe you, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt that it happened. I just didn't remember.
Did either of you see the Sean Penn movie, Bad Boys?
No.
It's a great movie.
I saw the Will Smith and Martin Lawrence movie, Bad Boys.
Also, great in a different way.
Yeah, something like that.
Still great, though.
Bad Boys 2, which is
better
than any other movies.
More goodest.
It's the most goodest.
So I wouldn't say that, but it is more goodest than some.
Yes.
Oh God. What about you, Senior? How have you been doing? How's Orange?
Yeah, I've been really tied up with the summer school thing. Basically, what happened was I was gonna have to take stats to catch me up. The placement test for statistics is Algebra 2 Trig, and I haven't done Algebra 2 Trig in like 4 years. Yeah. I don't know how to do algebra. I don't fucking know. I can do like x plus 2 equals 8 or like the basic shit.
Right.
But when you throw logarithms at me and like rational expression shit and quadratic whatever, it's just that I barely learned it the first time around. And, 4 years later, they're expecting me to do the same shit.
Right.
I couldn't pass the placement exam, obviously, because it's kind of snuck up on me. I didn't really practice. And my workaround is philosophy, which is great. There's a philosophy course that counts as math called symbolic logic. I don't know if either of you guys have heard of that.
I have. Alex LeBeau took it, and
it's really hard, right?
That's
the word on the street.
I imagine it is, but
it's not harder than math for me, at least.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
It's fair enough. I don't know. It looked interesting though, and I actually want to take it. I want to take it. Just period. It looks cool.
Well, I've already taken 2 philosophy courses, so what I'm going to do is just go for a math minor and knock out some other, shit by doing that.
Wait, why would you want to go for math?
Oh, I'm sorry, philosophy.
Oh, okay.
I was
I'm
gonna
sorry,
say.
I would kill myself. No, thank you.
Okay.
This is my oath. This is my oath to both of you guys. The next math class I walk into is a math class that I shoot up. All right.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I know it's dark, but okay, I'm not going to shoot up the fucking math class. All right.
Okay.
You just made an oath to us.
But if math was a person, I would kill it if I could. All right. Let's leave it at that.
That's a less not politically correct or whatever. That's a better statement to say, I think.
Well, you heard both versions, and you can choose the one you like best, right?
I like the second one. The second one's good.
Yeah.
I think really though you like the first one deep down.
Yeah. It's a hypothetical killing, which
I think
it's a
really
joke
deep down I'm a little bit terrified of you now.
It's a joke killing.
Fair enough.
Wow, you guys were just not on board with that sense of humor. Or that type of humor.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well,
I love just like basking in it.
School shootings, man. That's touchy stuff. Stuff.
No, it's true. I've been worried about that. Like that happening. I've been imagining like what would I do? Like would I try to like hide in a corner and then knock him out? Or
I mean, everybody. You said at some point in the back of their head, it's like, what am I going to do if this happens and I'm stuck outside?
Because it could. I mean, it seems like it could happen anywhere.
You got to come up with a plan.
Except, I mean, honestly, you think that in the moment you're going to think back, oh, I came up with the perfect plan for this 12 years ago.
Well, I mean, it would just be, am I going to run? Am I going to hide?
I guess.
Yeah. Like, or am I,
I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to take out a kid if you could get the jump on him. Like, yeah, it's risky, but, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it all depends on the person. And I mean, you're assuming he's not like a tactician of death, right?
He's...
Tacticianer? Is it tacticianer?
To be a tactician.
Tactician, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, if it is a tactician of death, nobody in the school has a chance anyways.
Yeah.
But, of course, the mindset of, it wouldn't be that hard to take the guy out. This is due to no experience at all with having a gun.
Right.
I'm assuming neither of you has had to wrestle a gun away from another person before. I imagine it's a lot more difficult than the movies would like to have us believe.
Yeah, quite
yeah, but okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying it's a matter of sneaking up on him. I'm saying if you get a jump on somebody,
If you get a jump on somebody, it's easy to do anything.
Right.
That's a good point.
But I guess it is a high risk type move.
Yeah.
That's something where if you died, people would be like, "Well, you should have just fucking, laid down or
hit it just." Yeah, exactly. It's the whole. Well, you should have, but then if you do it correct, then it's like, "Oh my God, you're a hero! Well done."
Yeah. Don't be a hero. You
damned if you do, damned if you don't. That whole thing.
Right.
See, now I always used to think that if you just played dead, it would be okay. And then I found out that in some situations they shoot corpses.
Yeah, like what about the Norway
just
guy?
to make sure? Yeah, he would just shoot people who were pretending to play dead, and that's not a good plan.
Wow.
Oh, it's a workable plan, but it depends on how long the situation's lasting. I mean, if you play... I guess...
Wow, Mitch. Just stop talking, Mitch. Just stop talking.
You could fake it for a while, but you would have to, move...
All right. Sorry, we skipped out on you guys. Part 2. Shit happens. I don't know what to say. It just does.
Well,
but
I know exactly what to say. This is our first attempt at a Skype conference call in which we can record a podcast for you good people. As Jake said earlier, he's in Phoenix, Adam's in Orange, and I am in beautiful Kent, Washington. So, it's going to be hard for us, but we're trying out the Skype thing.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
We're doing our best to make it work. So.
It's all right. I mean, it'll be like a millisecond. That will be the perceived effect,
Doing our darndest to keep working title alive.
Yes,
well, be that as it may. Figured we should tell him. Okay, let's see. Where were we?
I think we can. I think we can go with anything at this point.
That's true.
Yeah. Such is the manner of the show.
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
Take it away.
What do you guys? Did you ever play board games?
Of course, we played board games.
Okay. All right.
Shit.
How do you feel about? Well, first, Monopoly and Risk.
Okay. First Monopoly.
First Monopoly.
Well, I think Monopoly is it's a fun game. It's definitely a game you have to prepare yourself to play. It's not just like you guys want to play Monopoly because you're going to crash and burn real fast on it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for some reason, it's a lot more fun when you're a kid, and I don't understand, or when you're like a younger kid. It's just you're having a blast with it, and then when you get to like middle school years, it just sucks and you hate it. At least that was my experience. As far as Risk goes, same problem. You have to really be prepared to play Risk. But Risk is one of my favorite board games. It's a kind of game where I personally am always down to play. If someone says, well, we could play Risk, I'd be like, fuck yeah, we can play Risk. I can play Risk. But,
People say that anymore? I don't feel like I've been offered a board game since I was young enough to play board games.
Hey, I will offer you a board game when I get back to Orange because I'm a fan.
I know that.
Is it one of those things where it's like it ruins it for you? Like the nostalgia kind of dies, you know what I mean? Or the nostalgia kills it, rather?
Not really.
No?
I wouldn't say so.
I don't remember Risk. Like, I vaguely remember it, but I remember enjoying Monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last time you played Monopoly? Or rather, okay, how about
I have no idea. A decade ago?
Fair enough. Out of curiosity, what versions of Monopoly have you guys played? Because there are so many versions of Monopoly.
Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars was fantastic.
I think it was on a computer.
What?
I think it was a game on the computer.
All right, that just seems silly to me. Why?
I played the
Don't
board
act like
version.
you're not going to look into it.
I'm not going to look into it. I am going to act like I wouldn't look into it because I wouldn't. So there.
Well, there you go.
Exactly.
Star Wars Monopoly, I played that. There's like Around the World edition. Like they updated the price, so now it's like world cities and it's like worth 1 million. I don't know. Played that version. You know what I played? I played Lord of the Rings Risk.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings Risk was great.
Yeah, that is a fantastic game. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings geek.
Really?
Aficionado. No, I'm not actually. I could not get through the second book. Granted, I was 10 or 11, and I've just never picked it up since. But it's never been like my favorite series.
I'd say give it another try, especially since you loved Game of Thrones so much.
Yeah, I had to give it another swing. But Lord of the Rings Risk, it was sort of a tradition with my friends. It's whenever we really just want to nerd out, let's all come over to my house and we'll play a game of Lord of the Rings Risk. Shit's intense. Middle Earth is pretty big.
It is. It really is.
I would
There's
imagine
like
so.
I think there's like 60 nations, territories.
Damn.
Shit gets real really fast.
Oh,
It escalates quickly.
It's probably because everything's really connected to each other. It's like there's pathways to every different territory from everywhere. It's not like you have to go through certain control points like the nations.
Mitch. Quick question. Do you have headphones on?
I do.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay. Sorry.
Sounds like you're in a ballroom, but we can keep going.
Ballroom?
Yes.
Interesting.
Sounds like somebody just dragged a body across the floor is what it sounds like.
Well,
Jeez. That loud scrape. I'm just wondering what that was.
that was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, don't worry about it. The thing about Lord of the Rings Risk, though, is it has action cards. Now bear with me here. Is one of the variations, other than it being Middle Earth, is there are these cards, and it'll do something like cool. Not just territory cards, but they have those as well. But like play this and add 3 units to another territory or something. And one of the really tricky things is it's one of the cards is the ways under the mountains. So Mordor, it's pretty safe. It's surrounded by giant mountains. But if you play that card, you can go into an unprotected territory. Because like they have all their armies set up at the choke points.
Yeah.
But if you just go underneath it, you sort of subvert them.
That's literally what you do.
Yeah. So it is a super fun game, and I will consider bringing it with me when I return to Orange, California.
You should.
Yeah. A working title game of Lord of the Rings Risk.
On air.
That is, by the way, the funniest and most worst idea is like a podcast of something that has to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Like a visual, like that's like a podcast. Yeah.
That's like radio. That's like sports radio
podcast
commentary.
of playing chess. Is that what we're talking about? Like
the rough equivalent, yes. It's like sportscast, like radio, listening to baseball on the radio.
Oh man!
Except it's Risk.
Except it's Risk. Much more laid back announcing.
Which would be even more boring than listening to baseball on the radio.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
So, sitting and watching a baseball game is pretty much as bad as, well, I suppose you get to get drunk and you might catch a ball or something, but sitting and watching is not, it's only a step above listening to a radio.
Yes.
That's neither here nor there.
No. But I guess every dice roll is an important situation.
It's true. Attack and defense.
Yeah.
The board game that my friends and I would always nerd out to was called Descent: Journeys in the Dark. And that game was fucking awesome. What
is this? I'm interested.
It's a surprisingly in-depth board game. And it's basically like Dungeons and Dragons, but less. It's not like role playing like that. It's just the action side of it. It's like you go in, you're making your way through this dungeon, and you're finding loot, and you're just you have to like kill a specific demon, so that way a curse will be lifted from the village. Like there's a little story that's woven into every different dungeon, and then it's just really great. You play a single like hero, and you just like traverse dungeons and kill fantastical monsters. There's like dragons and giants and basilisks and.
Is it structured the same way as D&D?
It's similar. It's every hero has like a hero card which gives you all of their stats, but you can like customize what weapon they use and what armor they wear. So it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons for dummies, I guess.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's all of the action of like rolling the dice and killing Dungeons and Dragons foe, but without like the in-depth storytelling and like now you're traveling across the plains, roll for endurance to see if you get fever or not. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because no one really wants to do that.
I don't get fevers running across fields.
Well, you'd be surprised.
It's possible.
Did either of you guys see Chronicle?
No, but
no,
it's really
you need to.
Well, yeah, it's set in Seattle.
Either way, you need to. They just did I think it was a crazy good job. I mean, it's like the way you think you would probably handle a situation,
right?
Of like coming into superpowers. But it's really cool. It was really well done. I was not expecting that.
Well, I'm excited to see the movie when I see it.
See it, folks. You should.
Chronicle.
What else? Nothing? I mean, what have you guys been doing? What you guys have been into? Like, movies, games, music,
I went swing dancing in Phoenix last night.
Oh, you found a club?
Yeah, I found a place. Turns out one of the girls on swing team, who was actually studying abroad in India this semester, but she's from Phoenix, so I just met her. But I got to go with her, and it was nice because I didn't have to go by myself.
There you go.
And it's nerve-wracking asking people to dance in general.
It's true.
As you might imagine. But going by myself and not having like anybody to sit with or anything, that would have been very, very, very awkward for me. But no, supposedly there's a community here, like in Southern California. So I'm going to be able to keep doing that.
So you're heavy into it now.
Yeah,
I mean, is this just like a pussy quest or?
No.
It's a genuine.
It's not.
Pursuit, passion.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Dancing is a lot of fun.
That's great.
No matter how you spin it.
But tell me you're not hoping for a little pussy on the side. Come on.
I mean, what dancers are?
That's
hot.
That's a given, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Chicks dig dancing
all around.
I just wanted to hear him say it.
It's definitely a plus.
All right, there it is. Good man. But to tell you the truth, Senior, I have kind of been landlocked here. All my friends live in Seattle proper, like Seattle, and I'm in Kent, which is 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the traffic, south.
Oh, so what is that? Do you live in kind of like a more isolated area, or is it like a small town? Or?
I just live, or my parents moved to a more isolated area. Right. So we're not like out in the country or anything, but it's not. It's. I mean, I guess I don't have friends here. I literally don't have friends here. I have no one my age that I know within I don't know, at least 60-mile radius.
Right. Wow.
At least.
Wow.
I'm sorry about that. Well, you have internet and games.
Well,
great.
Yeah, I have internet and games, but there's also people that have been working on the house, so the TV's been covered up with plastic every day while people have been working, and they have to unplug the internet because of what they're doing. So I have been reading the Game of Thrones series. That's what I've been spending my days doing.
And that gets old fast, just being by yourself.
Yeah, being by. I mean, as good as the books are, you really just get, after a while, when you
need a break.
Yeah, when you've read for about 5 hours straight, you're just like, well, now what do I do?
When I was on my last little reading stint there, what I realized, and it's hard for me to do, but what I realized is that when you read, at first it's kind of difficult to concentrate, because I feel like you're so used to being inundated with all this stimulation,
Yeah, rapid fire.
But once you kind of get used to it, it's like a really nice thing. Like when you can really start imagining. I don't know. You just get into it, and it's really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why people love books. Is you get into them.
But I mean, it's funny that it's also like it's getting lost, kind of. You know what I mean? But yeah.
And you're right. You know, good books are able to do that to you in the beginning of it. You know, that's like you're saying. The quality of the book is somewhat dependent on how fast you can get into that stage of really enjoying reading.
Yeah. Something that's it's always been pretty interesting to me. It's just how pervasive, like, something from a work of fiction can become in society. Like, even over fact. For instance, you walk up to almost anyone on the street and ask them what Hogwarts is, and they'll be able to tell you, oh, it's the school that Harry Potter goes to, blah, 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 you know.
Right.
But...
Oh, that's what that is. Anyways.
But then you go around and you ask people what Croatia is, or, you know...
True.
There's so many real world things that people don't know, and then there are so many just fictional things like, oh, me llamo Dora. Like, I think more people would be able to tell you about Dora the Explorer than they would who the vice president is. Whichever one of you guys can tell me who the vice president is first wins a hug.
Joe Biden?
You get a hug, sir.
I thought it first. I can guarantee that.
I thought he was going to say like another country, because that's a pretty simple question.
Is it though?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think it's
apparently not to a lot of Americans, but you know, it's at a certain level of conversation, as we brought up in an earlier episode, a certain level of talking to smart people. That becomes sort of elementary. Simple things like that. But I think, Mitch, maybe, and this is one of the reasons why I love reading fantasy novels and things like that, and not tending to not read books that have to do with, you know, everyday life, like autobiographies or, you know, things like that, is because different and new worlds and things like that are really fascinating and exciting to me, and I think to the public at large. So, you know, if you were to give somebody the choice of reading up about Croatia or you know, reading up about Hogwarts, I feel like they would go for Hogwarts, even if they didn't know what the other two what the two choices were.
Fair enough. Okay, that's a solid point. I like it.
Yeah. I
guess it's an escape from reality, which is what people really like. It's
a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as I know, Croatia is not that entertaining.
Well, I hear it's lovely this time of year.
Honestly, I've never been there, but I know what it is. So it's a plus. Yeah,
that's a plus. Plus on my ledger.
No, thanks.
Yeah, man. But yeah, hopefully I'll get up into Seattle soon and see some friends and whatnot. But until then, my life will continue to just be reading and ... I don't know.
Maybe you could start carving wood, you know?
I could become a wood carver. Well, actually, a wood carver is a dangerous trade to take in Seattle. I guess that's a little bit of an inside joke for me. But there was a wood carver. I think this was last year. Yeah, there was a wood carver walking through downtown Seattle with a closed pocket knife or something, and he got shot by a police officer. Because the officer had told him to stop, and it was like, drop the knife, but he didn't hear him, and so then he just fired.
So he was walking with it?
Yeah, he was
out.
No, apparently it was closed, and it was a big scandal.
That's retarded. Wow.
Yeah.
A cop shot a guy for holding a closed knife in his hand.
Yeah. And
He got shot?
Yeah, he was shot and killed.
And killed, wow.
Yeah. It's actually, well, this sounds weird, but I guess it's lost the shock appeal to me, because there's actually more, or it seems like more often, no, I'm not going to say more often than not, but there have been quite a few cases of a little bit of overuse of force from the Seattle Police Department.
Really?
Well, yeah, they could just be isolated incidents, but there is definitely not a pattern.
A trend?
Not a trend either. It's just there have been, I know of multiple instances of police, like just from like reading the paper and hearing news from Seattle, just that the police are a little excessive with force.
They have itchy trigger fingers.
To put it bluntly, yeah. There have been like a couple of police shootings where it became clear afterwards that it was completely unnecessary force.
Wow.
So, c'est la vie, I guess. No, that's not c'est la vie. What am I saying? It's wrong.
When in Rome.
When in Rome. Fucking shoot people.
Yeah, well, the Romans did like their killing.
Mm.
I'm waiting for that to come back. I mean, I'm waiting for Colosseums and like death sport. Yeah. That has to be the next logical thing.
Wait, what?
Death sport has to be the next logical step.
Oh, yeah, that's the next step of reality, dude.
Or like entertainment, you know.
Yeah.
UFC, dude. Think about it.
Well, I don't know though. I think we're so, like, as a society, we're very afraid of death. We don't like thinking about it. We don't like talking about it. Actually, this was very interesting. I was reading. I had to write an essay on happiness, and it talked about like death and whatnot.
An essay on happiness.
It was for a philosophy class. Don't judge me. It was
I feel like that would ruin the whole point of happiness if you told me to write an essay about it.
Right? It was
it's all about your state of mind.
It was also ridiculously, terribly difficult to write. But that's neither here nor there. I was reading Passenger's book. It was talking about death, and it brought up some really interesting points. Death has completely shifted from where it was like 100 years ago, as far as how society looks at it. When, like 100 years ago, it was common practice for young children and families to all be gathered around a deathbed, sitting there with their loved one, watching them die. And it was a, I guess there was like the wakes, the body would be there, and it was a celebration of their life, and it wasn't so much a feeling of loss because they were dead. It was let us celebrate their life because they have lived, or they had lived. I find that so interesting, and I mean, I will admit it. I definitely had. I remember I had a great breakdown as a child because I was so afraid of death. I was on a camping trip and was looking up at all the stars, and I started feeling insignificant, and I started crying. But my mom was there to help me through it, so that was good. God, I love my mom. Great woman. Great woman.
Yeah, I mean, but I like what you said about the kind of like the upliftingness of a life celebration, that would be great. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
That's why I want to be shot into space.
Do you think you're going to be...
I want the audio of me being shot into space recorded.
What does that even mean?
Working title podcast will end with Adam Sr.'s funeral as he's shot into outer space.
2095.
Wow.
He already got it planned out.
Yeah, he's got a date. He's got the means. He knows what he wants with his life.
Live to 104.
Guys,
103?
I've heard we're actually going to live kind of a long time. Our generation, like 120, something like that. Like that will be the standard due to just the health. You know what I mean? The quality of.
I'm not sure I believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
Well, I heard this from. This was, I believe, the director of the National Institute of Health Sciences or something like that. He was on the Colbert Report a couple of weeks ago. And he said that we are going to be one of the first generations to, on average, not outlive the last because of the obesity problem.
Well, let's say you get healthy and you live the right way.
Well, then we're definitely going to live longer. We're going to live.
I think that was the point. Is just medical standards and you know what I mean, like technology in general. Like who knows what breakthrough organ transplants.
Yeah.
Should one do everything right, there's nothing that could keep you from living to 120 on the projected time span of medical advancement and where we are in history.
Yeah.
There was this
I'll believe that.
There was this article I peeked at where they talked about they were able to take using stem cell, they were able to build like heart muscle, something like that.
Oh yeah, that's they've
insane.
They've been able to do that for a while now. It's just we.
Or no, they were saying they took cells of a person and they turned it into heart muscle, something like that.
Yeah, stem cells.
Yeah.
That's some crazy stuff. I was reading about this, and it's like the nuclear transfer. It's like they take the empty stem cell and then they input the nucleus of a cell from a person, so that way it has the correct genes, and it's their. The craziest thing is that it is their tissue that is growing. And so it's like 95% more likely to graft and not get rejected.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
But they're going to be growing meat this way. Think about when our beef is perfect every time and, it's just a slab of meat with no nervous system.
Yeah.
That's going to be fucking awesome.
It's like some great tasting tofu is what that sounds like.
Genetically perfected beef.
I mean, but then we find out that, like, our children are being born with one eye for no...
Why?
Explainable. I don't know, man. That's just what happens.
You don't think the idea of growing
clone meat. Animal? You're eating clone meat.
That's true.
Well, here's the thing.
You're eating clone meat.
We're eating clone meat, but it's genetics versus, like, radiation. You're talking about... Like,
no, I know. I'm completely kidding. But... You got it. With new science, there's always that risk that you run that there may be an aspect of this that we don't know, and it could cause something unprecedented. And that is the consequences of taking these actions without truly knowing those consequences are around us every day. We have economic or ecological crisis. There's red dye number 5. The Romans died because they had lead pipes. There's throughout history there are things we have done on a scientific gain or just as a society and civilization.
The Romans died because they had lead pipes. Can we go back to that for a second?
Lead poisoning.
Yeah.
One of the causes to the fallout of the Roman Empire is that their plumbing was done through lead pipes.
Contaminated, essentially.
Contaminated, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of cups and plates were made of lead. I mean, they could have been gilded over, but they were a lead base with
fucking amazing
gilding on top. Yeah.
How would they know? How would they know?
Exactly, and that's what I mean.
Holy shit!
It was that's what led to like madness and death in a larger percent of people back then. Lower life expectancy, all that stuff.
Caligula.
I thought it was just like sword fighting that was really cutting short the life expectancy.
No, they were good at sword fighting.
Yeah, they were good at it, and they didn't know so much that we do today.
But then again, how much do we know? Well, what is the quote from Plato? What do I really know? Nothing. But in terms of scientific advancement, there's always a high probability that what you are doing could have unforeseen consequences.
Holy shit!
What?
Literally. Okay, so this is this. I remember hearing about this, and Adam's comment about genetically perfected beef. It reminded me of it, but you ready for this? Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Researcher creates artificial meat based on human excrement.
Whoa.
What?
Here we go. Oh. The global food crisis is a very serious issue, but Professor Ikeda thinks his latest invention, an artificial meat based on protein from human excrement, could be of great help. The Japanese researcher from the Okayama laboratory says its country has more sewage mud than they can handle, so Tokyo Sewerage asked him to explore its possible use. Knowing the wacky nature of many Japanese scientists, it's no surprise he came up with a turd burger.
That's what it says in the article?
That's what it says in the article, direct quote. During his research, he discovered sewage mud contains a great deal of protein, so he began developing a process of extracting that valuable protein and turning it into a viable meat substitute.
Okay, so how does this taste? Let's get down to it. Brass tacks.
Apparently, it
has to be acceptable, right? Health-wise, it has to be fine.
In terms of nutritive values, the turd burger doesn't sound bad at all. It's 63% protein, 25% carbohydrates, 3% lipids, and 9% minerals.
Oh, wow.
That's a good burger.
But
at the same time, it's turd.
Maybe that's McDonald's secret.
Well, I don't think so.
They're just ahead of the game. The turd burgers.
Turd burgers, as long as you don't tell people that it's turd burgers, how are they going to know?
I really want them to open up a chain.
Just called turd burgers?
Turd burgers.
I really want a 99-cent cheeseburger right now.
Well, that's...
Too bad I don't have one.
Too bad you're podcasting.
Too bad. And I don't have a 99-cent cheeseburger.
You gotta be kidding me. Okay, it says, sewage mud is high in protein because it's full of bacteria, most of which comes from human feces. However, these microorganisms are harmless because they are killed by heat during the manufacturing process. According to initial tests, the artificial meat even tastes like beef thanks to added soy protein, and Ikeda added some red food coloring to give it a more natural look.
Oh,
wow. This is
not what I meant by growing beef.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's it's the similar vein, man. It's solving food, and it's taking the protein and giving it back to us.
Well, they can already filter sewage water and make it drinkable.
Yeah,
I guess
they do that.
I guess it's not affordable now, or they're doing it. You said,
yeah.
I think in some areas of the world that's what they do.
Yeah,
I don't know my facts. I never do, but I believe that's something.
I think it's I think it involves vapor or something, and it just completely separates the waste. From the water.
Boiling or water vapor. That makes sense.
I think it's a more advanced.
Of course.
I think I saw it on the Colbert Report. I feel like such a fucking retard right now.
Well, no, that's where we get a lot of our news. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it was like a prototype. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Oh God, that's so weird, but it makes so much sense because
It does.
another thing. This was just a joke I heard, but I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm just gonna say 12% of the world's water is fresh, and we shit in it. And it's true. We have a limited supply of water, and that water is fresh and drinkable, and one of the major uses for it is getting rid of our shit because we want to poop in it.
Wow.
It's something to think about, I guess. Don't waste your water shitting in it. Drink water. Outhouses for the win.
I mean, I guess you can't take salt. You can't take salt water. I mean, just the transporting that would.
That's true.
Be so economically, but you're right though. There's no other way, I guess.
It's just the way of the world.
I guess it's something that you just kind of hope technology will solve. With a certain breakthrough. Because the idea is there is a way to tap into infinite energy. Or technically, or theoretically, I guess.
Not infinite, but mass amounts of it.
Virtually infinite, right? I mean...
Well, yes, of course. On a technical level,
what's nuclear? What's nuclear energy?
I mean, it is...
Essential.
Yes, okay, essentially.
They can't even turn it off. They can't even turn it off in Japan. They're not even talking about it. Where are the headlines? Yeah. What's going on? They still can't turn it off.
Wait, turn
the reactors, yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, true? I believe so. They're like, they can't shut them down because it's like a self-perpetuating.
Well, that really sucks because now we have a self-sustaining energy source that produces radioactive waste. So
rogue.
Oh, and there was something like they found these fucked up fish like right off the coast of the Pacific. I don't know. God, I feel like it makes sense.
One thing I'll put in about the whole Japan and nuclear waste thing is I read that the elderly in Japan were volunteering to do most of the cleaning because of the extreme amounts of radiation. People are likely to get cancer while cleaning it up, but because they're older, they're less I guess their immune systems are a bit weaker, but they're less likely to develop a cancer fully before they're going to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, before they're going to die anyway. Right. So it's really that was
a callous way of looking at it, but it's logical.
Well, no,
honorable. That they're volunteering to do that is rather honorable.
Yeah, I thought that was it restored my faith in humanity, as they say.
Well, nothing brings people together more than crisis.
But I mean, just like the shit we've done in general. Like I posted on Facebook this section of ocean where we did dozens of nuclear bomb underwater experiments.
Oh yeah.
Like we just fucking destroyed that. I mean, I don't even know if we really understand what we did. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Watch out for clone meat.
Yeah. This is just like mutant, fish that we're eating, and who knows? Maybe that's where a superpower will come from, like sushi.
Aquaman.
Someone eats yellowtail and then just, oh my god,
Aquaman
hulks out.
This is where we need him. Actually,
no, this is where he's going to come from.
That's true.
That's the Aquaman movie. Aquaman versus BP. There you go. Aquaman takes down British Petroleum.
I want to make that movie.
Let's do it.
Aquaman v BP.
I think we could we'd have to change it to PB or something.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be
yeah.
Like they do CNB on movies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How they do
BP TG.
Yeah, CCN kind of stuff like that.
Right.
It's classic. I love it.
But yeah. I also saw This Means War. I'll admit that. I saw that last night.
What is that?
It was the movie about like the two spies that fall for the same girl, and then it's I was I thought it was funny. Like it wasn't because the reviews were so bad,
right?
And I was really with it until the way they ended it. You know how they resolved the whole issue of two guys and one girl. Just ruined it for me. Like I was like, wow. But overall, I mean, it was there was funny moments.
Out of 4 stars, what would you give it?
Wow, I don't know. I might have to say 3 if I was generous. Maybe 2.5 is more realistic.
How about 5? 4, how many out of 5 stars?
Yeah, there you go. 2.5 or 3.
Okay.
Maybe 3. I don't know. See, what I'm ambivalent about is the ending really is like one of those things where I was like, wow. I was kind of with you, and then you just...
And then you
really?
just drop
like,
the ball.
This is the way it... But, yeah. Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
If I get dragged there with some chicks, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, I mean, because the reality is, like, the Tom Hardy, Chris Pine stuff is funny. That they do. Like, the back and forth is funny.
Nice.
It's just, it's hard to look at. I mean, if you went to the theater, you'd probably be pissed off. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But seeing it at home, you know, for free, probably okay.
I have some kind of weird feeling like this is why you were talking about subtitles earlier.
Very, very possible. I think that was actually Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do they not have subtitles?
With the dragon lady. Yeah, the dragon princess.
Wow.
Ooh.
But, yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Don't worry. Next time when I get back down there, I actually found out that I have HBO on my laptop. So
HBO Go?
One of my housemates has Game of Thrones, so you should contact Adam Brooke, one of our fans.
Yes.
Hey, Brookie, if you could be so kind as to lend Adam Sr. your copy of Game of Thrones, that would be awesome of you.
Didn't he go? No, he didn't go home. That's right.
Oh,
I don't know if I'll rewatch it for the subtitles, but I understood the plot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You could just fast forward to all the scenes. That way, you could be like, "Oh, okay, good. That's good enough."
No, I mean, yes, I got to the dragon. Maybe I didn't get it completely, but I appreciated it.
Yeah.
There was like the dragon, right?
Because she was naked a lot?
The dragon prince was like a false, something like that. I got it.
Yeah.
It was very well done. It was very well done.
Good. Oh, man.
We just circled back to Game of Thrones and...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That's how we do it, because it's cyclical, man.
It's just
like
free-flowing.
Sarah Connor.
We have no path.
Sarah Connor?
What?
Well, cyclical. You know, time.
What is Sarah Connor?
Oh, well done, sir.
Terminator.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. It was dumb. Don't worry.
When's the next one coming out?
Is there a next one coming out?
I don't know.
Oh,
Didn't Terminator Salvation... I thought that was... I thought they
Redemption? Terminator Salvation Redemption?
Yeah.
I thought that Terminator Salvation was them finishing the war. Or did they not at the end? They were like, oh...
Did they finish the war?
They bullshitted it by being
Hey, spoiler alert.
No, that's true.
Oh, right. Well...
Honest there, only because I haven't seen the movie did I pull that one.
Fine. No, but good for you. It's a good thing to do either way, whether you've seen it or not.
Way to save us from disaster.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Oh, I just had something to say. Sorry.
No, it's my fault too.
Well, I had something and I was going to say it, and then it went away. But vampire obsession.
Oh, sorry.
It's. Oh, hold on to whatever you're going to say.
Yes.
I saw a trailer for like the new season of True Blood or something, and
I must. For that.
You watched True Blood?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Well, I kind of. I watched the last season.
Okay. Well, I'm a little upset that because I don't know the actor's name, but I know him as Elliot Stabler from Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and I've always liked him as that character. And now seeing him fall into the vampire craze, I don't know. It makes me sad. I don't know why did vampires just explode?
Yeah.
Society does this with weird trends. I don't know. Now zombies are huge, though I believe that is dying down.
It's kind of a manifestation of this whole like global corruption kind of being uncovered, you know what I mean?
Or maybe it's just a manifestation of our fear of death. We talked about that earlier.
Sure.
Man, we're just forming circle upon circle.
Aren't vampires, though, kind of always in? Like, yes, they're particularly in, but... I mean, I remember, like, from Till Dusk Till Dawn and all that stuff. I mean, they were
like
always
the Blade movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vampires, I guess the craze has... well, now I guess it includes all ages.
Yeah.
Including, like, 14-year-old girls. But, I guess you're right, Senior. Vampires, and vampires and zombie movies, both of them, they've been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't really appear out of nowhere. It's just, they became mass produced.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
It never gets old, I think. Like, it's something you can reinvent just to fit wherever you are. Like, in society, kind of. You know what I mean? To reflect the current times.
Well, here's an interesting thought. We as a species, are mystified and, intrigued, but also somewhat terrified of the supernatural.
Oh yeah.
Those types of things scare us, but also really intrigue us. And I think zombies, werewolves, and vampires are three forms of supernatural beings, or quote unquote occurrences, subjects that most people know of. And so I think in order to capitalize on the idea that, well, everybody knows this, and it's something that interests people because it's something that we really don't know about. And I think that may be a pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something I'd like to see happen, which probably never will because it's not very like glamorous or cool or whatever, is a return to like the original vampire and all of like the rules that went along with it.
Elaborate.
In Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is the original.
Right.
That is the.
I have that book somewhere.
It's the genesis of
the concept
of
or
vampires.
not. Yeah.
It's the genesis of just basically the undead as a whole. Well, with the exception of zombies, I guess.
What is the date of that book, Mitch?
18. Oh gosh, 18.
18.
Yeah, is in late 1800s, maybe.
Give me a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Once again, I don't know my facts.
1897 novel by Irish author Bram Stoker.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But
isn't the lore behind Dracula somewhat founded?
It's from a king. I heard it was right. It was like this king who decapitated heads and drank
it's
blood
Vlad the Impaler.
Yes.
Yeah,
Vlad the Impaler.
that's what. Okay.
Yeah,
Vlad.
he was his nickname, or okay. his nickname was Dracula, Vlad, real life person. His nickname was Dracula, which means little dragon, because his father was like the dragon of the east or something, and he was like a famous warrior. And so then he was the little dragon.
Mm-hmm.
But what the original rules of the vampire was it was things like he couldn't be invited into he couldn't enter your home
without being invited.
Yeah, without an invitation. He couldn't cross running water, or like he could only cross water during like the high or lowest of tides. If it was moving at all, he wasn't allowed to cross it.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very interesting. Except rivers. Rivers seem to be a different concept for some reason. I don't know. Doesn't matter. And he always had to...
Wait, didn't he morph into bats?
Yeah, he could morph into bats, steam, and wolves. Whoa. It was...
Yeah.
It wasn't just the bat.
And wolves.
Yes, he was the original werewolf.
Whoa.
Yeah. Crazy concept, but Dracula, the book, spawned, literature. In terms of literature, it was like the spawn of the werewolf legend. And I just found that it's so much more interesting when there's like rules around how he has to act, and it's interesting. It isn't actually necessarily the coffin. The coffin is just a projection of daylight. It's all of his coffins were lined with earth from his corrupted castle. It's like Transylvanian earth was what he needed in order to sleep soundly or whatever. It was just interesting stuff like that, and
yeah,
it was awesome. That's all I can say. It was awesome. Read the book.
That is incredible. The idea of just like this kind of where mythology comes from and lore and right folklore.
I mean, I'm fascinated by that stuff. Truly, it's one of my really, really big passions. That and the apocalypse.
I think it's just like a sexy idea that like maybe this comes from a place of truth if you just go back far enough,
Yeah, it's
just like dragons, right? There's still like people who think like it could maybe be possible, like a type of dinosaur or some bullshit, right? Haven't they found justification for breathing fire and all that?
Isn't there they found a fossil of a lizard in like Indonesia. Once again, my facts, but I feel as if I heard somewhere that there was a very large reptile. Didn't fly, but it some sort of like it emitted some sort of gas that could be ignited very easily. But then again, this thing was like hundreds of millions of years old, so it's not really founded in. It probably wouldn't be the dragons of lore.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, another interesting little thing though is this is actually a little concept my mom thought up was, it kind of loses its credibility when you realize that Homo sapiens never coexisted with dinosaurs, but the new claims that scientists are making that dinosaurs all had feathers, that they were potentially flying giant beasts. Could
this is new?
Yeah, have you not heard this?
No.
Their scientists are saying that even Tyrannosaurus Rex had feathers on it.
But how did it doesn't
really?
have wings?
Well, it didn't have wings, but
it uses its like stunted baby arms to.
I mean, so does a chicken.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily.
That's feathers.
Okay, but chicken also has wings.
Well, I'm not. I'm just. This is.
You can't tell me I'm wrong there.
We're not talking about the flying dragons anymore. We're just going off of feathers and dinosaurs.
Okay.
That's an interesting. Wait, they thought that dinosaurs had feathers?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be in the art, like in the fossilized
or museums
structure?
Well,
No, the structure of the fossil. I feel like the reason why they knew ancient birds had feathers is because you could see the outline of the feather around the skeleton.
Well, no, I don't. Well, wait. Whoa, really?
I believe that's how they knew what a fossilized fossilized bird
Well,
looked like. Yeah,
maybe.
because I mean, what a fossil is, right? It's an imprint. It's not the actual bone. It's an imprint. And for some reason, I feel like as the imprint was made, feathers were one of the last things to go. And so that sort of was carved into the stone that became the fossil.
So fossils aren't bones? What are no,
Fossilized, I guess fossils are bones, but where that animal would have died, there's usually like some sort of an imprint around it.
Okay, then that makes sense, but
Yeah.
I think they would be the bones still.
Yeah, no, fossils are bones, but what I'm saying is that
right, okay.
when a creature dies and it falls to the ground, and it becomes fossilized over the years, it gets covered up.
Yeah.
And besides the fossilized bones, there's this sort of imprint of the animal, especially for really well-preserved specimens, and that's how they could tell when it was a bird and when it had feathers and such, because you could see sort of the imprint of the feathered structure. Yeah.
I guess I'd always just assumed that they'd assumed that they were birds based off of wing structures or whatnot. But because I guess when I thought about it, I was thinking, it's fossils are bones. So this was my thinking. Fossils are bones, but there's no really evidence of skin when you look at fossils, and feathers are completely based off of skin. I feel like as part of the decomposition, the feathers and skin would all go, leaving just the bones for the fossil. So it's like how I guess I didn't know. I don't see how they could have come to
such a solid conclusion.
Yeah, like how could they?
You're right. You're right. I think. I don't know, just something. I don't know what it was, but I feel like when the sediment falls around the skeleton or the corpse, it's not like it's not like the bones are the only remaining part that's visible. The bones are the only things that survive, but I think what I feel is if the rock around it takes on the shape of what it was, to an extent, supplementing the bone structure.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then again, I'm not a paleontologist, so.
I'm sorry, can you refresh my memory? There was a time when man and dinosaur coexisted, right?
No.
No?
No.
That was never...
That never... I believe it was mankind, I guess, appeared around 100,000, 200,000 years? No, maybe even earlier, but dinosaurs are from 65 million years ago.
Oh, okay.
So...
that was... I don't know where that imagery comes from.
Movies.
So why are there movies portraying cavemen fighting dinosaurs? Right?
I mean, it makes for a good idea, right?
Yeah, it is a good Yeah, I mean,
who doesn't want to fight a dinosaur?
everybody. I don't want to fight a dinosaur.
Who wants to see a guy fight a dinosaur? Who doesn't want to see a guy fight a dinosaur in a movie?
Maybe that's the end of the world. Eggs just hatch that are like buried under the ground or something.
Yeah, well, that's completely possible.
Yeah, that's just as likely as every other scenario.
Except, I feel like, well, they would have already have had to hatch if the world was going to end on the 21st. You know, I'm not going to be terrified of a bunch of baby dinosaurs that are born on the 21st.
Oh,
I mean,
that's true. If they're babies, I guess, yeah.
Just step on the little bastards.
Aha!
Yeah, take care of that problem.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. So do you guys remember that whole, like, the guy predicted the rapture is a few months ago?
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, and you know what? He could have been right. It was just that, the only people who were deemed worthy enough were like 5 people who lived out in the middle of nowhere, and nobody would have ever known that they disappeared.
Except, see, the thing is...
So rapture is being taken, is that what it is?
The rapture
it's
is
like
the moment when... Yeah, it's the moment when all those who are alive have, who have been deemed worthy enough to live in heaven...
Oh, you're saying there's only 5 people.
Disappear, yeah, and it's
but
like, well...
doesn't everyone else die? Isn't that kind of the way it works, or...?
No, everyone else is stuck here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the devil comes to power, and we don't really know it, and we live under his rule for a very long time.
Oh. I thought that it was going to be... I thought the whole rapture thing was going to be like all the righteous shall be saved, and all of the unrighteous shall be damned and killed.
Well, yeah. No, the rapture is the righteous shall be saved, as in they get sucked up into heaven. But then the part where everybody else gets killed is a little later on.
It's
called something else. Yeah,
Judgment Day. I think.
Yes,
actually,
the 4 horsemen, Judgment Day,
Riders of the Apocalypse.
That's so crazy. That's just crazy, badass. Like, I don't know.
Does anyone know when Darksiders 2 comes out?
Speaking of which, soon, right?
It might have already, almost, I want to say, but no, soon, I think.
Yeah.
Let me just check real fast, just out of curiosity. Upcoming, released August 2012. Cool. You play as Death this time around as opposed to before.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I haven't finished Darksiders 1, so...
I hadn't started Darksiders 1.
Well, you have a PS3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when I come back, you can borrow it.
Oh, okay. I'm excited now, because...
Yeah.
Well, no, not because you're going to lend it to me. Why would I give a fuck about that? No, I noticed that the composers are the composer is Jesper Kidd, who did the music for Assassin's Creed. So,
wow.
Personally speaking, I think Jesper Kidd's Ezio's Family is one of the best songs ever.
He's very talented.
When you guys get, I would recommend that you guys open up YouTube and type in Ezio's Family. I wouldn't play it.
No, I know what song it is. It's a very good song.
Senior, you should check it out.
Ezio's Family.
Ezio's Family.
OSTs are really, I mean, the high budget original soundtracks on almost anything are they're worth listening to on their own. No one really thinks about it like that, but they're worth
it's
listening
true. Like
to.
for like Final Fantasy and shit like that.
Yeah, man.
This is something. This is what I've been holding on to. I hope we can actually spend some time on this a little bit.
Okay.
I recently started watching the Batman animated series.
Which one?
The like 92, 93. The one where Alfred is like bald, kind of. It's like what we grew up with. I feel like.
Yeah.
And watching it from the perspective of kind of where I am now, I have just a totally different appreciation for it. Like I kind of brush it off. Like I didn't really know what it is, but it's like a really kind of appreciated version of it. Like a lot of people are big fans of it. the series. Do you guys remember that at all?
The animated series?
Yeah.
Sort of, somewhat.
You should check it out. It's a crazy thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can see what Christopher Nolan chose from, and kind of, like, it's interesting.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna say what he chose from, it's from the.
It's from everything.
It's from the comic books. That's where you're gonna get all of your information that you pick from. But yes,
the problem is that the only Batman series that I can really remember solidly was actually not even solidly, but the imagery from it was Batman Beyond.
Okay, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, which was something I do remember though is that it was really cool that it was clearly a continuation because the animation of Bruce Wayne was clearly a older version of the Bruce Wayne that they had from the version Adam's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Batman Beyond was like the young version.
Well,
like the
Batman
kid.
Beyond takes place in 2099.
Something like that.
It's 100 years into the future, and it's this new world, and it needs to be saved again. And so Batman Beyond is like an even more high tech version of Batman who fights.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not Bruce Wayne as Batman. Bruce Wayne is now
right. He's
like the. Well, no, he's alive still. He's the mentor for this kid who is going to become like the reincarnation of Batman.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he's got like jetpack. I remember he had like rocket boots that he would fly around on.
He had some really cool stuff.
He had some really cool stuff. I need to see if I can find that show again because it was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I guess it was just like the animated series one. Just it seemed very like cinematic and kind of artfully done.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It was very interesting. Like I would kind of like to see that Batman story because I think it's 1920s or something. I don't know. It's very unclear. Maybe 1940s, but it's a very
40s.
cool. Just like
40s.
It's like the city that never happened, and it's just I like the art design of it. It seemed like the whole look was really interesting. It's a real trip to kind of watch it right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But July 12th is a date I'm saving.
Right. That's the new Batman.
That'd be awkward if I got the date wrong.
Do you guys have any predictions for the way it's going to go down? I do.
I am almost certain that he dies.
Me too. Yes.
I mean,
Jake.
I don't know. That never really popped into my head. Then again, I haven't done a lot of thinking about prediction wise.
Right.
Every single time I go into one of those movies, it's sort of like, just tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't like to think about it because if I think about it, I inevitably get to thinking about, well, this is how they could really screw it up. And then I'm not as excited to see it for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess so.
That's just me.
But to me, it seems like it makes sense in the sense that Christopher Nolan wants to protect. Like he doesn't want to do another movie. He wants to. It's a
trilogy.
He wants to protect it so that no one can revive it. What a better way to protect it than to just kill off your guy, in a very definitive way. And it also makes sense with the whole Bane thing. Like Bane's the guy that kills Batman. That's what I recently found out.
Well, yeah, it's. I'm looking at the Wikipedia, and apparently the film has inspirations in the Batman comic book series Nightfall, which debuted the villain Bane. And Nightfall seems like a pretty clear. Oh, whoa, that's cool. Actually, I just found out that Bane is Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inception.
Inception.
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited about. I knew this a long time.
Was he? He's the architect or the.
He's not the architect. He's the forger. Get it right.
Yeah. No, not the. Yeah. Thank you. I
He's
said
also,
architect
he's
and then I
also
said
in Warrior.
no. He's
too.
the
Yes, he is. And All's Fair in Love or whatever, the one you saw.
This Means War.
This Is War.
This is
Yeah,
war.
yes.
Yeah. Which did either of you see Warrior? Anyone? Warrior? Yes,
Yeah,
no?
I did. I
No,
thought it was
I did not.
phenomenal.
You thought it was phenomenal? Okay,
Yes.
I really want to watch it now.
It's really good.
Oh,
The fight scenes are actually fantastic. Like that was one of the things too. It just seemed like one of the more visceral movies I've seen, where you like someone gets hit and you're like, holy shit, like,
he
that
just got
hurt.
fucking hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's see. Oh, and I looked, and I did awkwardly get it wrong. It's July 20th. Not 12th.
Ooh.
Yes.
I forgive you, Mitch.
Well, thanks, buddy. But, you know, c'est la vie.
Mm.
So we're looking forward to that. Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm. Again, most everybody is, though.
Why wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to wind this down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good. We put in good time. I'm glad. I feel like we're giving them enough content. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because summer school is going to be like more spaced out, right?
We need to figure that out. It'll be up to you guys, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, tune in for the next one. And
yeah, for sure. Okay. Sounds good. We will talk to you all again later.
follow us on Twitter. You know what to do at Working Title Pod. Subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Later.
Later.
Doses.